Yeah, hello. Hi, Maurice. Doris. Yeah, hi.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Or good day, because I think you're in another part of the world.
It's good evening here.
Okay, okay.
6:30 p.m. in the evening.
Okay, so we had a time change today. So,
Okay.
yeah, because we are on daylight savings time, so maybe some students might be on that curve. Because
What's
I came in at 7 a.m. and
okay?
in the spring we move an hour ahead for more daylight.
Oh, 7 a.m. Good morning. Early morning session.
Well, no, it's 8, but
Okay.
it would have been 7 a.m. if it was yesterday, but the time changed at 2 a.m. on Sunday. Anyways,
Oh,
I'm here. Yeah.
oh. So, when does your time change happen?
We fall behind in the third week of November, so we go behind an
Okay.
hour, and then
Mm,
in March we spring ahead for the spring,
okay. Okay.
so that we have more daylight. And this is really a difficult practice because it's hard on people's bodies, and
Okay.
especially if you're driving, it's very difficult.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, it is what it is.
But is there a climatic change also?
Yes, yes. Yesterday it was 16 degrees Celsius. Last week it was minus 20 degrees Celsius.
Oh.
So we're getting closer to the sun right now. We're going into spring and then summer.
And how much is the summer? How hot is it?
Oh, on average, with the humidity, we're near a big lake. I'm in Toronto. So with the humidity, it's about 30 degrees Celsius, but humid, very humid.
Yeah.
Where are you,
In
Just
India.
what part of India?
We are in Mumbai.
Mumbai. Okay. So you're not far from the water, right?
No, we are quite
Okay.
close here.
Okay. So you get a nice maritime climate, nice breeze, so not too humid.
Quite humid.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is.
Okay.
It is quite humid. And here also the temperatures are quite high. Nearly
Yeah.
32 now.
Oof, that's hot.
Very hot. And it's just March where summer starts. We still have April, May, and June to go.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. So anybody else will be joining us? Just put on your group now that the session has started. I hope you have a students group, isn't it?
I think so. There's
Just
supposed to be 8 people.
yeah. So just put it on the group that the session has started.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think one of the confusing things was it's called a pilot project,
Mm,
and if I was told it was for the dissertation,
mm,
it would have been more important. I did contact Upgrad, so the
mm,
word pilot project it kind of throws us off.
mm,
And Upgrad is currently doing interviews with current students for something else, so it's a bit confusing.
hmm. Okay. So this today's session is on the pilot study workshop, which speaks of how you, for your main dissertation beforehand, you do some short survey, short pilot study related to your topic and your sample, small sample size. So,
So, I have an idea of what I want to do. So, this pilot study then is to test if the question is valid.
yeah, the questions you will ask in the questionnaire, how they are received by the respondents, and if any changes required. So we will discuss about this in detail when we start with the presentation.
Okay.
Hmm.
But
Anybody else? Yeah, yeah.
you know what? We're supposed to have our question, or like our idea in on the 15th, March
Hmm.
15th. So,
Okay.
it's kind of like to do this in a week, it might be difficult.
Hmm.
Do we have to have this in our dissertation?
Uh, have they asked you to do it?
No, we're not there yet.
Isn't no, no.
I'm
Leave it,
still,
no.
Yeah, I'm
So
still
do
in
it as a
courses,
session.
like a verbal session.
Yeah. Attend this as a session to understand what that whole concept is all
Oh,
about.
okay. I
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah. And when
Okay.
they give you the pilot study to be done, they'll intimate it to you all, and then you know how to go about it.
Kind of. Only because I have very strong ideas of my project and I'm setting myself up right now to do it. And
Hmm.
it's not like I followed all of the lessons throughout the last year, and
Hmm.
I ended up um, creating a course to
Hmm.
study AI, and my institution is going to let me do this. And so,
Okay.
anyways, all of that work I've done to date has put me on a track to my dissertation question. And I've done literature reviews, and it's not finished by any means, but if I have to throw a pilot study, I'm kind of going backwards now.
No,
Um,
no, no.
no?
No, it's
Okay.
that it's a part of your research methodology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with my presentation so that
Sure.
you get
Sure.
some
Sure.
clear idea. Let's understand this concept systematically. Now, have you put it on the group for others to join?
Have I put it on the group?
Yeah, your group, students group is there, isn't it?
Um, yes, but we're not set up like a group. We're a team that has to be here today.
Yeah.
Let me just double check how that's set up. And I'm not on WhatsApp because,
Oh,
yeah,
that's what I thought you're on WhatsApp. So I said
no,
put it on
no.
because most of the students that we connect, they are already on the group, WhatsApp group, so they can intimate their team members that the session is on.
I don't know any of these people that are
Yeah,
in this group. Yeah,
yeah, true, true. They're from all
yeah,
parts of the world, but
y- yeah. I don't recognize any of the names. I recognize names in other groups, but not in this group.
uh,
Um, Yeah, and WhatsApp, you know what, Dr. Deshpande, WhatsApp for me is very distracting.
oh,
Yeah, I teach and I have 400 students attached to me, and so WhatsApp seems like another 400 students attached to me.
actually, but I admire your, your discipline, which where you restrict yourself to be on WhatsApp. Otherwise, WhatsApp is such a tempting and it's such a routine. We can connect with people whenever we want.
Yeah,
So it's very
it's
addictive.
oh, I'm not into it at all.
I
And
admire you for that.
yeah, yeah, I'm not into it. And my social media footprint is very minor. Like Instagram, I teach how to use Instagram for business, but I
Oh
don't use
wow!
it. Yeah,
Oh
I don't
wow!
use it. So it's a time sucker. That's what it is.
Oh, where are you teaching? If you can
At
share.
George Brown Polytechnic in Toronto. So I
Okay.
teach the business of hospitality. So
Okay.
cost control, marketing, liability risk management. And
Nice.
I have a focus on wine, beer, distillates. So
Wow.
I'm also a master sommelier, and so I
Okay.
teach at that level. But can you imagine? I don't have time for social media.
Yeah, I can understand how engrossed you might be in your work.
Yeah.
And this dissertation topic is related to what of yours, if you can
Well,
share?
I would like to. I was inspired because everyone has an opinion on the impact of AI in education. It works, it doesn't work, it's distracting, it's plagiarism. So I was inspired to finally do a study to prove what the outcome is. And so my study is going to be in language, and any business is a language, correct? You have to learn the vocabulary and the theories behind your business. So I am going to teach novice students Italian. Italian is my first language.
Okay.
And half of the cohort is going to use AI, the other half of the cohort is going to use a manual. And so I'll get some really good data from this conversational Italian. And I hope to prove my theory one way or another.
Oh, great. Let's so fine. I mean, it's a requirement, of course, at this point of time. But then, okay, once you start, you'll understand your own.
Okay.
Yeah, because, uh, yeah. So we have others also join. We have Thai. How do you pronounce Thai? Lu and Ha Mai. Ha Mai Li Thai. Hello. Good evening. Okay.
No, maybe they can't hear.
Yeah. Okay. Should I start with my session?
Yes.
Yeah, so today will be talking on the workshop for conducting pilot study. So what is pilot study and why do we do pilot study for research? So it's like a small preliminary study, like a dress rehearsal or a test. How you test your experiment. So when you're doing your research on use of AI, so you take a small sample size and you try out your questions on them, the questionnaire, and then you decide when you are analyzing the type of outcome, like what method to use, quantitative method or qualitative method, what changes to be done. So pilot study is like a practice before you do your final dissertation. So when in a pilot study, we conduct, as it says, it is conducted before the main research project. That is your large data survey starts. And it's a basic primary purpose is to test the feasibility of time, feasibility related to the questions, the understanding of the questions with your respondents, then how they are responding, their perceptions. So then, and the time required for them to respond, and how do you connect with the respondents at what time. So all these time related issues you get an idea when you want to do your larger study, so that you adjust and keep your time rate accordingly. Then use of technology. So in technology, if you're doing a qualitative survey, you'll need maybe a recorder, or the softwares for analysis, or computers to store your data. So that you have to make arrangements for technology for your work, and the different types of cost. So all this is not for free. Everything has its own cost in terms of money, cost in terms of the type of investment required for preparing. If you're doing a hard copy printouts you're giving to your respondents, so that again. And if you have to travel across for data collection, so that cost involved related to, again, also the cost involved for printing and all those uh, you know, dissertation related expenses. Yeah, and the risk involved. So risk says about the type of responses that you'll get, the time that we will be covering, and the type of response that you get, whether it is exactly as per your research question, or it has any type of any type of deviations, isn't it? So the type of risk and the adverse events involved in the full scale study. So when you do a full scale study and your sample data respondents or recruits increase, so to overcome the issues and overcome the adversities, then it's better that you do it in a through the pilot study first, understand the type of issues that might be faced, get over them, and then you start with your final dissertation, final data collection. So in pilot study, what do we do? So in pilot study, it's basically testing the feasibility of time cost as discussed. Uh, Okay, and there is before the full scale survey starts. So it's a small scale preliminary survey scale study which is conducted before your main research project. Its primary purpose is to test the feasibility of time, cost, risk, and adverse events involved in the full scale study. Okay, pilot studies help researchers to refine their research questions. So, what research questions you are formulating for your data collection, you can refine them after you do your pilot study and you feel that it needs to be changed. So you can refine the questions in the in for the main study, test the data. Okay, test the data collection instrument. So how are you collecting? Yes, Doris, you have your hand up.
Okay, here's the two questions I have so far. I don't want to forget this.
Yeah.
One is about the questions you're talking about. Are these the questions that we're asking in the study, or are these the questions that we're asking about the purpose of the study? So, for example, if I'm asking to see if my subject is relevant. Am I asking, let's say, my colleagues that I work with, is it useful if I do this study? That's for example. Or do I actually ask the participants, excuse me, questions that I would ask in my study? Because
Yes.
I'm running a course,
Yes.
and I'm observing the impact of the course. So the course has content in it which I haven't fully developed yet. So that's what I'm asking.
No, it is related to your. See, you have already decided on your title. You have decided on your introduction, chapter one,
Yeah.
isn't it? And based on your research, you have identified your research questions, research statements in the chapter one. And then in chapter two, accordingly, you're doing the literature review, isn't it? In the literature review, you're finding the gap. Okay, gap related to the previous studies done and your study. And based on that, you are formulating the research objectives. Okay, and in the research methodology, when you formulate these objectives, the conceptual model is formulated. Okay, which speaks of which are the type of objective questions that you want to do your research around. And based on these questions, you prepare the hypothesis. Okay, whether the objective is feasible or not feasible. That is the null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis. And based on these type of objectives, you prepare the questions to be asked to the recruits and the respondents for your study. Okay,
Okay.
now this questionnaire which you formulate about your research study. So in pilot study, we are testing that whether these questions are in alignment to your research objectives and how are the respondents responding to your research questions.
Okay. I
So,
got that. That
yeah,
makes sense. The other thing I have is about cost. So especially what I'm doing could have some serious costs attached to it because there's a technology investment. Now,
yeah,
I have grants at work that I could apply
okay.
for. Um, would that be recommended? Like I have a small grant that I think would cover this.
I think you'll have to ask the administrative part of Edgewood and confirm. But I think you have to make arrangement for the cost through these different scholarships that
Yeah.
you can apply and use it.
Otherwise, we're paying out of pocket, correct?
True, true,
Yeah.
true. It's quite a
Okay.
big cost. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead with this. So as I said, it helps this pilot study helps the researchers to refine their research questions. So based on your research objectives, you formulate research questions, and then test the data collection instrument. So the data collection instrument that you may use, now you may decide that you want to do a qualitative research. So in qualitative research, you may be asking open-ended questions. So for if you are asking them open-ended questions and you have to analyze their responses, you'll have to use a software like NVivo or DDoS. Okay. Or if you're using a quantitative survey, then you have to formulate your questionnaire by using Likert scale. Okay. And preparing the questionnaire by using the Qualtrics or your Google Forms. Okay. Through these softwares for quantitative. And then when you collect the quantitative data, you have to put it into the SPSS or Python and do the analysis, quantitative analysis, and then talk of the findings of the analysis. Okay, which will then conclude your research and research study. So when we say that the test of data collection instruments can happen with a small data and data which you collect for pilot study. Okay, and identify the potential problems that you may encounter in the study design. So they are particularly valuable in dissertation research as they provide a foundation for methodological rigor of your study, because the main study will be structured and executed after your pilot, what you learn from your pilot study. So it's better that the pilot study, by conducting it, the deserters can gain insights into participant recruitment. Okay, so who will be your participants? Who will be your respondents for your survey? Then the data collection logistics, that is the time, the venue, the location. Okay, so all these logistics and the clarity of survey or the interview questions that you will be preparing for your dissertation, which after the pilot study you can refine these questions and test the data collection instrument for better accuracy in your when you do your larger study. Yeah. So identifying these potential issues, pilot studies reveal the problems in study design and data collection logistics earlier on only. So you're doing the pilot study. So before that, you understand what are these issues, so that when you start your main study, you are prepared to to overcome those issues and run your survey smoothly. Okay, and support for dissertation. They provide a foundation for rigor and ensure the main study is well structured. So when you start your main study, it is well structured and you're confident enough to take it ahead. So why conduct a pilot study? What is the basic purpose? As it is for testing your research instrument. Instrument means your research questions. Okay, which speaks of the surveys. So pilot studies, test surveys, interview guides for clarity, reliability, and validity before the full research. Okay, so conducting a pilot study offers several benefits for the dissertation research. So it allows the researchers to test their instruments and how the surveys and interviews have been responded by the respondents, or the observation protocols. Why all this is for clarity, reliability, and validity, which speaks of identifying the different logistics issues which may be encountered, that is the recruit and data collection issues. So who your respondents are, okay, what is their venue, okay, and their time, and whether they are clearly understanding the questions that you have framed for your study. So all these things, so it helps to resolve these practical problems early on before you start your main dissertation. Okay, so refining the research design will help the preliminary findings from the pilot study helps to refine the research questions and hypothesis for accuracy and estimating the resource and the budget. Yeah, so pilot studies provide estimates of time, cost, and the resource requirements, supporting effective planning for your main study. Okay, so pilot study will give you that type of an experience that you may encounter before you do your main study, because the data recruits of the sample will be higher in your main dissertation. So, the participants and their problems with data collection procedures and refining. So, according to their responses to the questions, you can, later on refine those questions for your main study. So, it's easier. So, this is like an experience and a small, before your main dissertation, you are doing the testing of your study so it enables better planning and budgeting. Overall, pilot study enhances the quality and credibility of your dissertation. Okay, by ensuring that the research design is sound and practical. So whatever research that you want to do, then you get that confidence that yes, it is practical, and your respondents will accordingly respond to your research questions. So you get that type of a confidence. Yeah, now you need to be in your for your pilot study also, when they ask you to do it, you'll have to take the relevant permissions. So, needed for your surveys, interview protocols, observation matrix made by someone else. So, here you can go to the Edgewood library for the examples, and you can use these instruments also for your data analysis. Okay, where you can use the Qualtrics. As I said, Qualtrics is used for framing your questions and doing by using Likert scale and using the statistical and using the statistical analysis software for analyzing it, the SPSS that we say. Or you can also use Python. Now Python is also very frequently used, and but I think in Edgewood they give SPSS for free. And for qualitative survey we uses NVivo or DDoS. And Vivo is also a software where you put in certain keywords. You ask open-ended questions in your questionnaire, and related to those questions, you put in some keywords. And based on the responses related to the keywords, you code them, and then you analyze the findings by using these qualitative softwares like NVivo and DDoS. So you need to, like, when you are doing the surveys, you need consent from the participants or consent from the authorities. So to allow the respondents to respond to your study. So it's either sometimes it is implied consent. You ask your colleagues or you ask your, um, uh, uh, friends or people whom you know related to your, who are related or who may be related to the research, background that you are doing your research on. So, it's an implied thing that casually informally you ask. But it is also the consent needs to be done formally by taking written permissions from authorities. Okay, so even if you are doing a pilot study for your major study, for your larger dissertation study, if you need to do the different IRB procedures and different type of permissions required, consent requires, it's better that you do that in your pilot study also, so that you know that what are the protocols that you need to follow to do your study. Then you have to deploy invitations to your participants. So you can send them a formal email saying that you would need them to respond to your questionnaires, that either you will be mailing it to them or either you will be meeting them. So taking their appointment and meeting them and circulating the questionnaires and getting it done on face-to-face basis also. But you need to give them the formal invitation so that it is on record. Okay, that formally you have done a authentic data collection. Yeah, Doris.
Sorry for all the questions.
No, it's okay. That's required.
Yeah, because I do serve our research ethics board at the college. So
Mm.
I know the process. So here's the question for our pilot project. How many people do we need to include in the pilot project? And can the consent only be implied?
Uh, uh, for your main study, what type of consent is required for your main dissertation, large dissertation study? You'll
Well,
have
for
to,
the large has to be written for sure,
yeah,
but
yeah.
because this is a pilot project, I'm
You
just probing.
no, just follow the norms even for pilot. So that will give you the practice.
But that could take a long time.
But
Like
that's time
that could take.
management.
No, I get it, but you know what? If I'm going to research at my institution, I
Yeah.
have to go through REB. Right now, it takes 3 weeks for REB just to respond, and then they have to articulate, whether or not there are challenges with the pilot project. So,
Mhm. But you
uh,
at least put it on record.
okay.
You
So
start
I
with the
would like to.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to avoid REB at my institution because I've got a conflict of interest. So, do I go through the Edgewood REB?
Yes. IRB process.
IRB, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, how do I like where is the application for
There is an
review?
IRB website, in the Edgewood, uh, on the Edgewood site. And we'll be
Got
having a
it. Okay.
session on IRB also.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going ahead here.
Yeah. So it's better that you follow the protocol in your pilot only, so that, when you're doing your main study, you are used to it. You're more comfortable and
Got it.
confident to take it ahead. And you get that experience, that how long it will require, what are the different type of formalities that need to be done. Yeah, so from
I
that
understand.
perspective,
Thank you.
and even the participants should, accordingly feel the importance of your survey, so that they will
I
respond
understand.
also accordingly. I mean, if you get it just done through your friends and colleagues, you may not get that type of a committed response when we need a quality in the response for your analysis. So it's better that we follow the protocol.
Thank you.
Yeah, for data collection. So you need to deploy these invitations. So designing the pilot study. For designing the pilot study, we need to determine the participants selection and sample size for effectively testing the study procedures in the pilot phase. So designing it involves these several key considerations. So the researchers must determine the sampling strategy, including who will be the participant, how many participants are needed to test the study procedures effectively, the choice of data collection, okay, methods that you will be using. So, like the surveys, interviews, or observations aligned with pilot study goals, okay. So choose the data collection methods according to the goals of the pilot. Okay, so what are your research questions, and how you need the responses from the, so you will get that type of experience here. Then testing of your instruments, that is to test the study instruments to ensure the clarity, and questions elicit intended response from the participant. So the response that is intended from the participants according to the requirement of your study. So the instrument testing is very crucial. Yeah, and so that the questions have to be ensured that they are clear and elicit, so that the responses that you get will be according to the intention of those questions. Then the logistics planning, that is, plan the schedule, location, technology needed for smooth execution of pilot study. So all this must be planned, and a well-designed pilot study mirrors the main study. So after you do this in your pilot, your main study becomes easier to do. Okay, so it uh, uh, mirrors the main study in the structure, but on a smaller scale. So pilot study is done on a small sample size, but the main study will be done on a larger sample size, allowing the researchers to identifying and address the potential issues before implementation of the main study. So pilot study gives you that idea. Okay, now here comes in a part of ethical considerations. Okay, so when we talk of ethical considerations, informed consent plays a very important role. So the researchers must ensure that the participants understand the study purpose, rights, and potential risks through the informed consent. So ethical considerations are essential in the pilot study, just as they are in the full research study. So researchers must obtain the informed consent, ensuring that the participants understand the purpose of your study, their rights and their potential risk. Okay, then confidentiality and data protection. So it measures, measures must be in place and safeguard the participants' information. Okay, and during and after the study. Now when you are surveying your research questions to the participants, they should feel comfortable that whatever response they give, they can trust you for the of their response, that the response is not misused. Okay, so you need to create that confidence and trust in them. Okay, that this research response is purely used for your dissertation study for academic purpose only. Okay, so that they feel safe and secured and feel comfortable to respond. Okay, then IRB approvals also you need to obtain, institutional review board approvals if necessary. But approvals is not necessary, but may be required also. Okay, so if you are taking a pilot of your policymakers, so it's better that you have the IRB approval. But for your pilot, you may not require also. Okay, where your respondents are easily available, but you formally give them a letter saying that you request them to respond to the surveys that you're doing for the pilot study, so that at least the type of response you get is authentic and there is a commitment. Okay, it shouldn't be taken casually. Yeah, so to ensure the ethical compliance and protect human subjects in pilot studies. Okay, so it's typically required for pilot studies, especially if they involve human subjects. There are topics related to medicine or topics related to, where there is a human requirement of the subjects, the participants as human, but there are different types of health related risk or psychological related risk. So keeping all these aspects in the from the medical or pharmaceutical or these hazardous type of topics. So we need to be very conscious about the different formal approvals required for administering your research. Yeah, and setting the ethical precedent, addressing these ethical issues thoroughly in pilot studies lays a strong foundation for the main research project. So you do all these in practice for your pilot study, so in your main research it becomes simpler, so you have that experience. Okay, addressing this thoroughly it stands a strong precedent for the main research. So researchers should prepare and submit an IRB application that outlines the study objectives, methods, and ethical safeguards. Okay, addressing the various ethical issues thoroughly in the pilot study. Okay, so that it sets a strong precedent for your main research project. So in pilot study, all you go through all those experiences that you may encounter, so that when you're doing your main study, you know how to overcome it. So it's a practice. Pilot study is like a practice. Okay, now let's understand the data collection methods and management. So, selecting data collection tools. So, effective data collection and management are critical components for a successful pilot study. Researchers should select appropriate tools, okay, and technologies for data collections. Okay, so choose appropriate level of survey platforms and qualitative analysis software for data for effective data gathering. Okay, and technologies and such as Qualtrics for surveys in quantitative method and NVivo for qualitative method for data analysis or Excel for data. Yeah. uh, Field notes like demonstration and field notes. Maintain detailed field notes and demonstration to capture the contextual information during the data collection. So make notes. How are the participants responding, or where are they? What are the questions that they are asking? Are they finding it easy? So make your notes down. So prepare your field notes when you're doing the type of data collection, um, and document it. Okay, so field notes and documentation during the data collection helps you to capture contextual information and observations. Okay, and researchers must also be prepared for the troubleshooting issues. So prepare to address ethical and technical problems and participants non-compliance to maintain smooth data collection. Sometimes the questions are very sensitive questions. The participants may get aggressive. They may feel, why should they respond? So, you need to be very, very much aware of this. So, proper data management and includes organizing your files, uh, uh, putting your data observations properly on record, organizing your files, backing up the data, and maintaining data integrity. So these practices ensure that the pilot study yields a reliable insight and prepares the researcher for the full scale study. Okay, so all these experiences of data collection method, documentation and field notes, then the different challenges and how you'll be troubleshooting these challenges, and then the data management practices. That is how you are going to store your data. So organize your files, prepare backups, and ensure the data integrity according to the responses asked in your questions during the survey. Okay, now let's understand the next part of it. Any questions till now? Hello? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
When when do we input IRB approval? Do we first have to submit our project idea on March the 15th, and
Yeah.
then we can input approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they are that assignment is there, na, that you have to give in this assignment in March. So after that is done, you can start with your IRB, so that then they will put up this assignment for pilot study. So then you can do it. Start with your pilot process.
Okay.
Yeah, the others are not responding. Are they there in the session? Hello, Hong, Thai, Ha, are you all there? Gang, please say hello. Hello.
No, I no question.
Okay, so somebody responds. Okay, Hong, hi, hello.
Hello?
I can't hear you.
Yes, I have no question.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Their voice is very low.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you can hear me clearly, huh?
Yes.
Good. Any questions? You can type it in the chat.
I have no question.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. Gang is also there. Gang and Harmai. Are you all there in the class? When the videos are not on and they are, not responding, it's better that way. Okay, so we need to take that accountability of feedback, whether they have any difficulties or, they're understanding what I'm speaking. Okay, so we now talk on the analysis of data. So how should I analyze my data? When you get the data collection done from your pilot study, from your respondents, so either you use quantitative method and qualitative method or a mixed method. Okay, so for quantitative method data analysis, we use the software of SPSS or Python or any other technical software, and then follow-up outline on quantitative foundation. So based on the data interpretations, you find out the use the statistical tools to analyze the responses by using quantitative data. So like chi-squared, you find the ANOVAs, BENOVAs. So depending upon your research questions, you need to use the quantitative. Yes, Doris.
So, when we were studying qualitative and quantitative, we were given short-term access to the tools through Edgewood. Do we still get that access?
Yeah. Yes, you will get
Okay.
it. Yes.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So following these steps outlined in the quantitative foundation. Now qualitative. For qualitative, you may use a software such as NVivo or DDoS, for which you need to do your coding. So you do the hand coding for your keywords and then categorize them. So categorize according to the different demographies. So if you say the gender, so the male, female, or you can say the age groups. So you need to categorize and code them. Okay, then the themes and patterns that may evolve, okay, based on their educational qualifications or experiences. Okay, so all these aspects and their observations related to the questions that you are administering in your survey. Okay, so and follow these steps outlined in the qualitative foundation. So the software will tell you about how we go about with the coding of your different areas of your questionnaires. So in NVivo or in DDoS. So now let's understand the analyzing the pilot data. So by focusing on the various patterns and issues. So analyzing data from your pilot study focuses on identifying the various patterns, inconsistencies, and areas for improvement. Okay, and not final conclusion yet, because your final conclusion will be in your main study. Pilot study will just give you an overview of what and how it is to be done in your main study. Okay. Researchers should examine whether the data collection instrument functions as intended and whether the responses provided a meaningful insight to the questions that you are asked. Okay, so common issues to look for include the ambiguous questions. The language used while you are preparing the questions for surveys, whether it is understood clearly by the respondents, or is there some ambiguity, or some data is missing, or unexpected behavior of the participant related to the understanding of the questions. Okay, so you need to understand the type of responses so that you yield a meaningful insight to the questions, and how you can then accordingly, refine your research design. So analysis may involve basic statistical tests or thematic coding, depending upon the data type. The goal is to use the findings to refine instruments, procedures, and research questions. Okay, this iterative process strengthens the overall research design and enhances the validity of the main study. So you need to refine the findings of the pilot data. Okay, data through the data collection of collecting the instruments that you are using, and the type of responses. So you can modify those questions and redesign the complete if you feel that the type of response you need is more requires more accuracy. So you need to refine it. So analyzing the pilot data will then help you to, redesign for enhancing your main study, the validity for your main study. Now, how will you evaluate the pilot study? So evaluating a pilot study involves assessing what worked well and what needs to improve. So assessing the study effectiveness, that is, uh, what requires improvements in sampling, the data collection method. Okay, so researchers should reflect on the effectiveness of their sampling strategy, data collection method, and logistics planning. So, you said that you can take a pilot study of your colleagues in your institution for pilot study. But if you take from other institutions, you'll get a far more, logical response than yours, because somewhere emotionally or somewhere, the informality in the relationship may not give you the type of accurate response which is expected. Yeah. So lessons learned from the pilot study can inform the adjustments to the research design. Okay, such as revising the research questions, changing the recruitment strategies, or modifying data collection procedures. Okay, then in evaluation of considering the participants' feedback and ethical concerns that arose. Okay, so some people will casually respond, so that again and to please you they may not respond ethically. So all these things you have to be cautious. Okay, so incorporating these participant feedback and for ethical concerns to enhance your research design and conduct the research study. So by systematically reviewing the pilot study, researchers can make informed decisions about how to proceed with the full study, ensuring that it is more efficient and ethical and methodologically sound. Yeah, so refine your research design, and from the lessons you have learned from the pilot study, you can revise your survey questions, the recruitment of respondents, and the data collection procedures. So pilot study is like a sample of before you do the main study, an example before you do a main study. So it's better that you run it at an informal level because it's such a small number. Then forgetting the type of responses, so that you can make those changes accordingly for your main study. So then again, evaluating the pilot study, you need to test the survey instruments. So pilot studies help identifying misunderstood questions in the surveys and revisions before the main research begins. Okay, so how the questions are interpreted by the respondents need to be understood. Okay, so the case example of pilot study provide valuable insights on how other researchers have approached to the preliminary study research. For instance, a doctoral student in education, sorry, might conduct a pilot study to test a new survey instrument. for measuring the teacher's engagement. The pilot could reveal that certain questions are misunderstood, okay, leading to revisions before the full study. Okay, so you need to evaluate the interview protocols. So the type of understanding of these questions and the type of the sample recruits for your study. Okay, another example might involve a psychology student testing interview protocol study for a study on mental health stigma. Okay, the pilot could uncover logistical issues in scheduling interviews, prompting changes in the recruit strategies. So, when we talk of psychological interviews or psychological students involvement, so their availability, their mind frame to respond accordingly. So all these things need to be evaluated. So, the logistical challenges in interviews, prompting the adjustment in recruitment and scheduling the strategy. So what sensitive responses and the respondents are that you need to study in your pilot, so that in the main study you can improvise on it. Okay, so the benefits and challenges of pilot studies provide practical insights, highlighting common research challenges and effective solutions for the before your main study. Yeah, so this is how, if you have to do it in a very well structured manner, it's better that you do it by properly understanding and experiencing. Okay, so there is a question from Thilo who says that is it okay if I only use qualitative research method, or do I need to use multiple methods? See, it all depends upon the type of research objectives that you are designing as per your research questions. And if you are using qualitative also, it's okay, but the type of software and the type of analytical tool need to be designed or used in such a way that you get an appropriate response for further analysis. Okay. I hope I could answer your question. Yeah. So the next part, so now let's understand on is the documenting the pilot. Okay, so documenting the pilot study is an important part of the dissertation process. Researchers should include the detailed account of pilot in their methodology chapter. So chapter 3, you have to put in that they have done the pilot study and what are the explaining the study purpose, design, procedures, and findings. Okay, so detailed methodology reporting include pilot study purpose, design, procedures, findings in the dissertation methodology chapter. Okay, with proper transparency and learning. Okay, discuss what was learned and how the pilot informed the adjustments to improve the main study. So here you have to explain the study purpose and design the procedures and findings. So transparency is the key for discussing what was learned and how the pilot study informed the changes in the main study to enhance more credibility of your research. Yeah, so ethical considerations, that is how it resolved your research integrity when you talk of the questions and the responses from the respondents. So, and demonstrating the rigor, that is through documentation, thorough documentation strengthens the dissertation by showing methodological rigor and clear research rationale. Okay, so documentation should address these ethical issues which were encountered and how they were resolved. Okay, by thoroughly reporting the pilot study, researchers demonstrate a proper methodological rigor, okay, to provide a clear rationale for your study, for your decision, and strengthening the overall dissertation of your dissertation research. So it's very important that this pilot study will, support you for your main study. in a very it will be very helpful for you to get the feel of how the responses and analysis needs to be handled. So now let's understand the concept of transitioning to the full study. So after you have done the uh, you know done the pilot study, transitioning from the pilot study to the full study, research involves finalizing the instrument and the protocols based on the pilot findings. So finalizing the protocols, that is based on the pilot findings, researchers finalize the instrument and address any identical issues to ensure clarity and feasibility. Okay, so that whatever issues are there, you know how to overcome the challenges. So researchers should address any such identified during the pilot, such as unclear question or logistical challenges, scaling up the sample size and preparing for comprehensive data collections. Okay, so this phase is also also includes updating the IRB applications if changes were made and ensuring that all ethical safeguards are in place. Okay, so a larger sample size is prepared for comprehensive data collection in the full study phase to ensure a robust result. So then, for ethical consideration, if you need to inform the IRB, you need to update the IRB applications and ensure that ethical standards are in place, are critical before the full study begins. Yeah. So that it builds your confidence in the research design. So using the pilot as a foundation, researchers move forward with confidence in a well-tested and robust study. So this transition marks the beginning of your main research journey. After you do your pilot study and then you transit for your main dissertation study with the required changes, maybe changes in the questionnaire, changes in the IRB processes, changes in the respondents, that is the recruits. So all this you can prepare and then administer the full study. Now here are some pilot study examples. So for qualitative research and quantitative research. So let's understand how how many sample is required for a pilot study. Okay. Generally, for qualitative studies, a sample of 10 to 30 participants is sufficient to gather enough feedback to identify themes and issues. Qualitative, here they say 10 to 30. I would recommend 5 to 10 based on your data population. Okay, so understand the type of recruits, and then you can decide on your sample size. So a smaller sample size, but with a good commitment and a good understanding of your research, those recruits or those participants and respondents will be helpful. Okay, for qualitative. And for quantitative, the sample size can vary depending upon the goal. Okay, depending upon the feasibility and the reliability of the questionnaire. So when we say feasibility, for estimating the parameters of minimum 30 participants, for quantitative, I am saying. So where you are administering a Likert scale questionnaire, okay, by using Qualtrics or Google Forms. So, so 30 participants per group is often cited as too small, with some citing 70 to 100 per group for estimating group differences. Okay, though this depends upon the expected effect size. So in quantitative method it is, if you are using a quantitative questionnaire. Okay, and you have to test, but once you have administered this quantitative questionnaire, you have to check the reliability. That is the responses, how reliable they are. And the reliability quotient of Convac alpha test that we use has to be more than 0.07. Okay, then only we can confirm the validity of the questionnaire. Okay, that is according to the alignment of the objectives and the hypothesis of the research. Okay, so reliability testing, testing the reliability of the questionnaire, specific minimum are often recommended: 15 for kappa agreement, 22 for interclass correlation, and 24 for convex alpha, which may need to be increased to account of non-responses. Again, depending on the population and the statistical sample size according to the scale of population for your research. Okay, so based on that, you can do your pilot study. So if you're using a quantitative method, it's better that you have more than 50 sample size. Okay, by you're administering the Qualtrics questionnaire to them. Okay, and analyzing it by using the convex alpha for validity. And for qualitative, you can use 10 to 15 samples and then analyze them based on their responses by coding according to the keywords of your questions. Yeah. So this is how it will help. Now, how will you evaluate the reflections of the study? So evaluate the questions asked of the participants, whether they are clear. Are they clear? Do they elicit the kind of data you're looking for? Is their response according to the question that you have asked? Okay, but note that not the data you want to see or expect to see, but if the question is getting the kind of data you require to answer your research question. See, the respondent should be able to understand the research question and respond according to their understanding, not your understanding. Okay, so you can't influence your mindset on the respondents. So you have to give them that space and clearly check whether they have understood the question, and accordingly they need to respond. Okay, then are they double barreled, vague, or unclear questions? Sometimes, the language, the interpretations are confusing, become very ambiguous. Or could they have been improved upon? So when after you do the pilot study, maybe you'll change some words. Okay. Evaluate the normality of data. Evaluate the preliminary results by running the statistical test you intend to use, and what do you find? So here you need to run the test and check on the pilot sample that you have collected and check whether it is actually responding to your research questions according to your research hypothesis. Okay, so here we talk whether the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis is accepted or rejected. Okay, so through pilot study, we do the different types of, in statistics, we also called as factor analysis, which factor out the type of variables in the questionnaire for your main study. Okay, so all this can be done in the pilot study based on the pilot study data. Okay, analyzed and then confirmed the validity of your questions, and then administer it on your main study on a larger sample size. Okay, so the interview protocol testing, that is when developing an interview protocol for qualitative research, pilot testing is crucial to ensure the effectiveness of the question and the flow of the interview. Researchers select the number of participants and conduct mock interviews to test the clarity and relevance of the question. The pilot's test helps refine the interview protocol and ensures that the questions elicit the desired information from the participants. So in interviews, when you're taking an interview individually or taking an interview through different focus groups interaction, so, you need to understand how these people are understanding, how your respondents are understanding, participants are understanding the questions and their responses. And then if required, you can modify them after administering these questions and observing their responses. Yeah. So in conclusion, in a nutshell, pilot testing plays a crucial role in ensuring the success of the research study. It helps researchers to refine their research design, identify potential issues, and improve the overall quality of the study. By investing time and efforts in pilot testing, researchers can increase the validity and reliability of their research findings, ultimately contributing to the advancement of knowledge in their respective fields. Okay, so this is about pilot study from my side. Any questions?
I have a question. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, how much time should we give ourselves to do the pilot project? And the second question is about qualitative tool. You had mentioned that there should be 10 to 30 participants via Google form. I'm going to choose Google form. However, at the end here, you had mentioned focus group. So would the Google form be for the pilot and then the focus group for the main
It depends.
study?
No.
Okay.
See, it depends how you want to do your data collection method.
Okay, got it.
So suppose you want to administer a questionnaire through Google Forms, then that you will not have them face to face.
Okay,
So if
that's
you
good.
want them to come face to face, then you will talk of focus groups or one-on-one interviews.
Okay. And
Face to face.
finally, here's my final question is, can we get a copy of this PowerPoint? Because this is very helpful.
I don't know, because this session has been recording. I think they will be uploading it.
Okay. So let's go back to how much time should we give ourselves?
See, they will be giving you the type of time. Okay. Once you
Okay.
have this pilot study assignment up.
Okay. So that's the
And
next course. Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So probably
So
15 weeks or 7 weeks. Yeah.
So this gives you a basic confidence, how your complete study, your research will be, perceived by the respondents for your survey. So before that, you do a sample run, do the checking on by using this pilot, and then make the modification changes so that when you're administering this study on a larger sample size,
Okay.
you
And
have the
so,
confidence that how to
okay.
go about.
And so this is embedded in the methodology section of the
Yes,
dissertation. Okay.
there's a chapter 3.
Got it. It's clear. Thank
I
you.
have launched the poll for the quiz. I hope you all have received it. Feedback form. It's for record. Yeah, hi Lee. I can see you.
Yes. Good
Any
evening.
questions? Good evening.
Yes,
Any
I thank you so much for your sharing. So yes, a little bit clear more about the pilot study.
about the pilot study?
Yeah.
Good. Actually in the session it sounds quite okay, but when you start talking to your respondents, and as said, that it's better in the pilot study that we have respondents who are formal. People take it that my friends will respond or my colleagues will respond, but no, it's better that you go through it formally. Little pain now will make your the dissertation final study more easier, because then you'll be able to estimate the type of responses you are getting, the type of
That's clear.
seriousness, the type of ethics, the type of commitment from the respondents. That matters, isn't it? So that your analysis, so especially Doris, when you're doing with AI, use of AI, versus use of this, but in reality, if you go to see, this AI is actually stopping us from thinking on our own.
in a way. Do we have the study for that, Dr. Deshpande? Maybe I'm going to prove that.
Yeah, yeah. You will see now it has started.
Yeah,
Now to prove it, it will take another few years. Your research will be one of the aspect. So when another 10 years down, when they will refer to your research. Because it's the AI era has just started. It's been just
exactly.
couple of years now. Post COVID,
Exactly.
these things have aggravated.
I'm inspired. I'm completely inspired. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I also have my PhD students. So different students working on different topics and their different research findings and their research experiences is something nice and good for me also. Yeah, Lee, what is your topic on? Can you share?
Yeah, I still working and on the way to finalize soon. Yes.
Okay. What is the
Yeah.
topic?
Um, it's about the awareness, inner awareness education, and
Okay.
based on the transformations of people when they journey into the environments where we
Mhm.
focus on the inner awareness
Oh,
education.
very nice. So cognitive understanding, cognitive thinking, or
Yes.
or yeah, a very you can say detailed psychological study, is it?
Um, that is like an education that have everyone to restructure
Mm-hmm.
the inner condition, the inner awareness.
Oh, the maturity part of, is it the
Yeah.
maturity part? Inner
Uh,
awareness in the sense.
it's just like, for example, when we are sharing with our student about finance, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then then yes, every one of us here, the reality of us about finance, for example, is depending
Mm.
on what you know about finance, what you think
Mm.
about finance, and what you accumulate about the reality from the people around you. So it's forming
Mm-hmm.
you an inner awareness or inner condition. But
Yeah,
then if
understanding. Yeah.
but then based on your based on your existing inner
Mm.
awareness, and then
Mm.
if you have like it's not so be it's not good. For example, some people they are grow up in an environment where they are facing with poverty, facing with difficulties. So what they
Mm-hmm.
thinking about finance is a different way with a person who live in another environment, and the way they see the finance operating, for example, in developing countries like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that is like the inner awareness.
Understanding.
Our
Yeah.
our education is to restructure again their inner awareness about the finance. We
Yeah.
provide them with like good image, good image in their mind about the money. What are the benefits of the money when they are using, and then what is the purpose? What is the mission of the money in our lives, for example?
Okay.
And we share with them about that, and we also give them the practical journey in order to practice every day, and we have a plan, and we have a follow-up, and we have evaluation on the process. So that maybe after 100 of days they working on the journey, so they will have the transformation. They also have be like more mature in their in their like inner awareness, and they will improve also their reality about the finance. So that is I am aiming for. That is the education starting from the inner awareness. Yeah.
Here I want to suggest that you go through this model of Bloom's taxonomy.
Bloom, can you share
B
say with again?
B L
B
L double O M. Bloom.
Bloom
Taxo
B BLUMP.
BL
BL
double
U
O
double O. Okay, Bloom.
M.
Double O M M. Yes, Bloom.
Bloom taxonomy. TAXOMONY.
T T O N.
T
Ah,
TOXO.
Taxon.
Taxonomy.
Taxonomy.
Yeah, yes, Doris has
Can you
written. Yeah.
can you explain more about that?
You Google, you'll understand. So it is in
Okay.
alignment to what you're talking. Like how do you
Ah,
make the students understand, remember, then apply, all this.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
Doris.
much,
Carry on.
Doris. Thank you so much, Doris. Yeah, thank you so much. And we will create the dissertation on that subject. In
Mhm.
yes, and it's not only on finance. I focus on the humanity. I mean. For example, as a person, when we would like to master our own life, so we also have our inner beings, our
Mhm.
health, our social relationship, and our finance. That is the like the four main elements of our life. So we should have the proper inner awareness of all of these three of these four aspects of life. So
So this will help you go through that model of Bloom's taxonomy.
okay, thank you
Yeah,
so
that
much.
will help you how to analyze these levels. There are these 5 to 6 levels of understanding.
Yeah, and then we create the I create the topic,
Yeah.
and then we will submit into the I don't remember the
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
REV or yes, yeah, and yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your sharing about the Bloom taxonomy. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
I would like to know if we focus on one aspect in all aspects. And so, how do you think? I just thinking because each aspect of life is very deep. It's very deep. So I don't know if
See,
you, for example, we go into the detail in
no, you
finance. Yeah.
no. See, finance and all these functions are applications. Before that, you need to understand the cognitive understanding, preparedness of the people, to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, their willingness to learn, their environment to learn. Okay,
Yeah.
their basic aptitude to learn,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
based on these aptitudes, how they are accordingly perceiving it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Perceiving
Yeah.
it, perceiving it to apply.
Persist to apply. All right.
So this
Yeah.
Bloom's taxonomy will guide you through these steps. Okay,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you will have to prepare your topic around this.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I will go
Yeah, you
and
do your
Google.
reading. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
and then I will have a research on that. And
yeah,
yes, and should there is any like any inquiries, so maybe we see other on the next
yeah,
Q&As. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'll be there.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
thank you.
Yes.
Gang, Hong, Thai, hello, where are y'all? Just show me your faces. Videos are off,
And
so I can't see them.
today is like Good Mondays in my country is
Oh, yes, everywhere.
International Women's Day. So yes, I would like to send you warm wishes
Thank
of
you.
health,
Thank
happiness,
you.
joys, and yes, and yeah, thank you so much and happy Women's
Women's
Days.
Day. To you also. Happy
Yeah,
Women's Day
thank
to
you.
you also.
Yeah,
And all
yeah.
these women in the class today. Hello, hi, gang, Tao, Hong, where are you? Monica.
Thank you.
Monica Chu,
Yeah.
where are you from? Hello, Monica, are you there? Okay. No, she's left. All these are from Vietnam. You're from Vietnam, Lee?
Yes, yes, I'm come from Vietnam, and all of this is my friend. We are coming from the same organization.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we are all like a sister. Yes, we know each other
Okay.
very well. We learn together, and we like receive the scholarship from the organizations to study these programs. Yes, and,
Mm-hmm.
and we know each others very well.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So y'all are in
Yeah.
connect with each other. Nice.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
if there is no more questions, so I am wishing everyone and wishing you, Dr. Aruna, for having us on this topic. And yes, and happy Women Day. See you again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be
Thank you.
there online till 8 o'clock. That is here.
Yeah, yeah,
Because the
yeah.
session,
Thank you.
I hope you
Yeah.
have responded to the questions,
Yes, yes. Yes,
to
yes.
the
I also the
feedback.
survey. Yes, yes, yes. Feedback. Yeah, I already do that. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you, teacher. Bye.
Bye,
yeah,
Theo.
yeah.
I think there's,
I will
yeah.
contact you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.